Hello and welcome to Blades of Thunder. First things we need to do is apologise for not having the time to make any videos lately. We've all been a bit too busy with other stuff, but we're back and we're going to start this year's first project with our OH6. But as you can see, our OH6 has taken a little tumble. The good news is we didn't crash it. It got knocked off a shelf, landed on its nose, and it's broken the front section. But should this happen to you, all isn't lost, because you can get, for the Roban stuff, you can get spare parts, and we've got hold of a new nose section. Okay, it's bright orange, it doesn't match, but it doesn't matter, because we're not going to keep this as an OH6. We're going to convert it to a Hughes 500C. Okay, and the Hughes 500C has a completely different tail. It's a 4-blade head, which is why we fitted the 4-blade head originally, and we've designed and made our own little conversion kit that will convert this from a D model, which it currently is, or an OH6 Little Bird. We can just pop that together. It does go, and then we'll stick that on the end so that we get a different tail and a C model. Okay, and then what we're going to do once we've got that is we're going to make this a Batcopter based on the Corgi one from the 1970s. Okay, so it's going to look quite smart when it's done. We're going to reproduce that with this. So I'm going to hand over to Kevin now, who's going to talk you through refitting the new nose section.
Right then, so this is where we start to repair this damage that has befallen our aircraft, and our skills for modelling and repairing the aircraft, which is the inevitable thing in this delightful hobby that we all take part in. So first thing we have to do is remove the damaged front from this aircraft, and it's not a simple case of picking up the replacement one and putting it on and go, ooh look, that was easy. It doesn't work that way, I'm afraid. As you see on the aircraft, we have locating pins, and the front of the fuselage is also held in place by some magnets that are fitted on the inside, so when it's put on it doesn't fall off because of vibration or being knocked. It's held on there reasonably strongly. So the first thing we have to do is drill some locating pins and then secure the magnets inside, and then when we put it on there we can say that it's going to be safe and secure for when we fly. So let's drill some holes. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take our new nose section of the fuselage, and we've got to mark it as to where the pins have got to go, because as you see on the fuselage, the pins are not equally spaced, so you can't just measure, drill and hope for the best. Now the method that works for us, and we've had to do it a couple of times, is to get a paint pen that we can mark the top of the pins with a little bit of paint, and we'll do 2 at a time while it's still wet. And then very carefully, but as reasonably quickly as possible, make sure we get this in the right place and touch it onto the fuselage, little bit of push against it, and then try and bring it off as straight as possible. So we then end up with 2 marks at the top, which tell us where to drill, and that's our next little job to do. Okay, right, so whenever you start to drill holes, you never just go straight in and go, measure it, that's a 2.8 or 3 mil or however big the pin is, in with your big drill. Always start with a pilot one, so you can make sure, 1, you've got it in the right place, and 2, you don't make it too big. So let's start on the first one, and sometimes you do need the extra pair of hands, as you can see. So nice and slowly. It's not a race. Okay, the first one. That's the second one. So we have actually measured these pins, and it's a 2.8 size dowel, and into the toolbox, and we've come out with a 2.8 mil drill. So we will again, if you notice, we're not getting in there with a big giant electric drill. We're doing it all by hand. Again, better be slow and careful as opposed to rush at it and make a mess of it and damage your aircraft's fuselage. So again, nice and slowly. You don't want to put too much weight into it. Just let the drill There we are, 2 nice clean drilled holes, as opposed to big splits where you've rushed through it and damaged the fiberglass. Right, so now I have to mark and drill the second 2 holes for the nose section of the fuselage. As you see on the main body of the fuselage, we've clamped a couple of small bits of wood. That's to ensure that when we mark the nose section of the fuselage, that it is actually square to the rest of the body, so there's no steps in body lines. So again, we'll mark our pins nicely. And using our top 2 pins as a guide, make sure we put in the 2 bits of wood, a little bit of force, only gently, pull away straight, and hey presto, again 2 marks ready to be drilled. Now we have to drill our holes again, so into the centre. 1, 2. Okay. Again, nice and slowly, just let the weight of the drill do the work. And one little tip, any swarf cuttings like you see there, blow them away. You're not supposed to use your fingers. Fiberglass can cause splinters, etc. Same with carbon fibre. Blow it or brush it away. That's the best tip. Okay then, right, so we've cleaned up the filings, etc. So now we have to make sure that we've got it in the right place, and to see what sort of adjustments or anything that we have to do to it. So carefully. Just touch it onto where we've drilled the holes to see how accurate we've been and what has to be done to get it to fit nicely. Okay, right, so we've now got to try and match it up to make sure it mounts properly on the fuselage, and we found that we have one hole here that is slightly small and needs to be sort of taken out nice and gently. Again, it's not a race. Very, very slowly, and using our mat so we don't just a small amount at a time to make sure that no, it's still a little tight. Okay. Just a little feel around with your fingers to see how the lines work, and I'm very pleased with that. So the next job is now to stick the magnets in. Okay, so we're putting the magnets on. We've done the first three, but we're showing just doing this last one because obviously the glue is going to go off and we can't do all of them that quickly. The glue will sort of muck us around. So we've marked the back of the magnet to make sure that it goes on the correct way around onto the fuselage, so the magnet holds the nose cone of the fuselage on and doesn't repel it. So good tip, use a non-magnetic tool, small amount of glue, and carefully push down in there. The magnet will find exactly where it wants to go and stay in place. And then it's just a waiting game for the glue to go off.
Well, Kevin has done a great job on fitting the new canopy for us, and I'm going to be moving on now in the next video, and we will be taking off the rear fin and fitting our own design, which is a C model. Okay, so we're going to have a new fin. We're also going to be fitting a lighting kit, and we're going to talk to you about where the lights go on an MD500, because they don't always go in the tips of the skids. It depends on the model of aircraft, so you need to look into that quite carefully. Okay, but this lighting kit we won on Motion RC, so thank you very much to our friends at Motion RC for that. So look forward to seeing you in the next build video where we move this on to another level.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and follow our Facebook page for additional pictures and the ability to ask us some questions. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.